The world I am creating is the world that I would like it to exist, where there is no hierarchy, where animals and nature and humans live in harmony, both and all being respectful of the other's right to live their lives as they would like them to be, so that we aren't growing animals for our food, where all animals have the privilege and the right to run free and be free, where we walk alongside horses, where we respect the oceans and the air and the earth. So that's what I paint and draw. I was invited to submit my work to this couple that they had this concept, this theme for a show. They invited poets to submit and 2 and 3D artists to submit. So the artists brought samples of their work and the poets read their poems. And the artists had to pick their top 3 favorite poets, and the poets had to pick their top 3 favorite artists. And this woman named Soteria, it was her turn to recite her poem, started singing. She was magnificent and really powerful, and she chose me. So I did a painting of her, and how I saw her was her poem behind her head and her looking up as if these words were coming out of her. And she calls herself an artivist, like an activist, artivist, which I love. In the 70s, I became more active as a feminist. There was a vocabulary that was created for how I was feeling when I was at Boston University as a young woman being ignored by my professors because what they assumed was that after graduating, women would go off and get married and have children and stop doing art. So the professors pretty much ignored the female artists, and I was ranting and raging at that. Through time, my feminism evolved into a broader expression of a need for change and a need for inclusion, that the other was not just women, the other was also animals and the earth. I heard on the radio somebody talking about a trumpet of flowers. And that inspired me to do the background, not just a solid background, but to have sort of an abstract feeling of flowers just coming out and floating and wafting in the air. And being challenged as just, light and color, I kept on wanting her body and her clothes to come forward and the background to recede. So this became darker and more defined. This was just the background colors, and then it slowly evolved into just this cream color with these incised patterns in it. And then this was one of the last things I did, was to do the pink, kind of the reflection of the sunset on her shoulder. And this is one of my favorite paintings. I'm really pleased with it. I do love her title. The title is The Woman with Goldfinch. She transforms her own dark into her own light. She sees her private shadows and loves them. And that's a quote from Molly McCord. How I feel about my work is that I want it to get out into the world. I feel like I have something to say. I want women to feel good about who they are. And I see beauty everywhere. I see women in all sizes, shapes, and colors, and I see that beauty, and I want women to look at my art and feel good about themselves. And I do believe that art is really important in the world because people can express themselves in lyrics, in acting, in painting, in drawing, in sculpting. It's a deep expression and representation of who we are and how we feel.